Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of StarCraft, where I take you through the missions and how to get the achievements. Today's mission is Cutthroat, and it's in the Wings of Liberty campaign. The achievements are Cutthroat, complete all mission objectives. Those objectives are collect 6,000 minerals before Orlan, find find the Protoss research. And after you collect the minerals for the contract, you must destroy Orlan's mercenary fortress. Minesweeper. Kill 25 units with spider mines on normal. Solitaire. Don't train additional SCVs before you get the contract on hard. Well, this mission is pretty... I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's definitely above average. The main thing is trying to protect your base before you get the contract. It's not impossible, but it is difficult because you don't want to sacrifice your base before the right time. And basically, around about 1,000 to 500 minerals before your goal, you won't need to protect this base anymore because you'll be getting the base from Mirahan. So, up until that point, you gotta keep your troops going back and forth between collecting minerals and protecting the base. And the easiest way to do this is about every 4 to 5 drop pickups you get, go ahead and make about a round of troops, which I usually make 3 Marines, 1 Vulture, and 1 Medic is a good balance on your troop displacement. And it doesn't hurt your minerals too much. And then once you get about probably a page worth of units, you don't have to make any more than that. So that way you're still not draining off of your resources, and you can just go around collecting your resources instead of spending on them. And then the other thing you're going to do is, as you go through collecting, once you get up a good enough force, you're going to take out these bases that Orlan has set up, which are the orange X's. And sporadically placed through, you'll find the Protoss research. At least on this one, they're easier to see than they are in most of the other missions. Yeah, some of the mineral nodes will have protection around them, so just be aware of that when you're sending your forces to find them. Don't send lone Marines or anything like that, because they will die. And don't bother building refineries, because you'll basically be using the Vespian you get from drops rather than pulling it from the refineries. At least in the beginning. Now you can, to help defend your base, build a bunker, 2 or 3 bunkers in the base, but I wouldn't, because they need to be repaired to be effective, and repairing them takes minerals, so it just lengthens the amount of time that it takes to beat this mission. So I would not make bunkers. Instead, keep your forces running through the base and collecting minerals. So but yeah, once you start taking out these bases, Orlan's production goes down a lot, so it gives you time to collect your resources. Also, don't forget, whenever you destroy one of his bases, they drop minerals, so go and pick those up. And there's the second Protoss research right there. Do not go down this pathway just yet, because it leads to Orlan's base, and you will not have enough troops at this point to even dent it, so stay away from that. Yeah, once you get about a page worth of units, you can stop production. I think I still continue to produce a little bit more, but basically one page is all you should need to do to collect resources and have a sizable army to protect your units. And they do send attacks periodically, so when you're assaulting a base, after you get your initial assault on, I'd go ahead and pull about half of those forces back to the base, so this way when the force shows up to assault it, you can defend your base. Because I think they attack like once every 2 minutes. Or I think it's more like around 4 minutes, but meh. Also, a good rule of thumb, if you're ever having to fight troops on a ramp, go ahead and basically pull them, and then stand at the top of the ramp, and then fight them from the top of the ramp, because they won't be able to see all your units unless they have something like flyers. But yeah, 1 vulture, 3 marines, and a medic is usually a good rotation for your army supply, because vultures, they do a lot of damage, but they're very squishy, so you want to keep them behind marines, so this way they don't die like that. Basically, you'll want to engage with your marines and then pull your vultures into it, and that's the third Protoss research right there. Here we go, we're gonna assault this base. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, see, like I said, they attack pretty often, so once you start engaging a base, go ahead and pull half your force off back to the base. Because it's not quite time to sacrifice this base. You can save it, but it's the resources needed to save it is just not really worth it. So I tend to just let them have this base at about 5,500 minerals. Also, every time you produce a vulture, go ahead and set the Spider-Mans around the base. It helps with the defense of the base, so this way you don't have to come back every 5 seconds. Yeah, as you can see, once you've taken out those 3 bases, his mineral production has slowed very much. Also up that ramp to the left is Mirahan's base. You probably won't be able to attack anything in there because she's also well fortified, but you don't want to attack anything up there because she's gonna give you her force in a minute. Yeah, this is the point where I was like, alright, just grab my remaining forces and collect the resources I need, push through these troops, and I should be able to get the mission done. Try not to get too close to that ramp up there because they do have siege tanks and stuff that will shoot down at your units, so you don't want to lose too many units right now because you don't have a lot to spare. And you just move through picking up the resource drops, so this way you can finish the mission real fast, or get the contract real fast, I should say. Yeah, the hardest part about this is keeping your vultures from dying because they're a lot faster than the other troops. Also avoid that patrol because they will wipe out your units, so this is basically a running gun thing where you're running, picking up resources, and basically trying to avoid getting killed, so there we go. Now that we got the contract, we have a whole new fortified base, so all of these guys are pretty much sacrificial, so first thing I'd do is go ahead and build your SCVs, and then with your factories, rotate between building vultures and Goliaths, and then with your barracks, go ahead and build marines and medics. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this force and go collect the minerals you didn't collect in the first half of the mission. Because this force is pretty big. It's big enough that it can take on most of the stuff that's left out there and the patrols, so plus in a minute you'll be sacrificing it to take out, basically to bait a nuke is what you're going to be doing. Also, another thing you're going to want to do is those two siege tanks, move them forward to where they're beside the bunkers. Yeah, as you can tell, I know what to do, but I didn't do it during this mission. It's how all my missions go. It's like, well, you should do it this way, but I didn't, so... It's like the old math problem. There are multiple ways to get to 4. You don't need to do it any one way, as long as you get to 4. Because 2 plus 2 equals 4, 1 plus 3 equals 4, 3 plus 1 equals 4, so doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there. I'm just saying, trying to say what I think is optimal ways. But yeah, if you just come around this main little island in the middle, you can pick up all the resource drops that you couldn't get in the beginning, so... And your force will be good enough that it can move in and grab the resources without having to worry about losing too many units. The other thing that's good about these is they're all mercenary units, which means they're slightly better than regular units. So they can take more damage, deal more damage, and stuff like that. You too close to the base. Yeah, here we're gonna try to bait that nuke out. You'll probably lose most, if not all, of this force, but don't worry about it, because you have a good enough defense at home that you can rebuild. But basically all you're trying to do is grab that initial force that's there and take them out, plus move in and bait this nuke that's gonna drop. And basically once that activates, go ahead and pull all your units out of that area. This way you don't lose any more than you already have. And then basically pull those back to the base and start rebuilding your force. Now you can focus more on vultures than Goliaths. I'd say probably instead of the 1-to-1 ratio, I'd do a 2-to-1 of vultures to Goliaths. Probably even a 2-to-1 marine medic combo. Do not build these barracks. They're just a waste of resources because you need the vultures and stuff more than you need the barracks for the marines. But at that time I wasn't thinking because I'd forgotten about the the spider mine achievement, so I do believe I salvaged these halfway through their production, which is just like, well, that was a waste of like 45 minerals each. And now we just sit at the base until we get up a good enough force, and basically every time you create a vulture, go ahead and have it start placing mines right outside the base and down this ramp, because that way it basically funnels the patrols that they're going to send out after you through those spider mines, and you get the achievement after about 2, maybe 3 assaults. So like I said, this mission isn't too hard. It's just that first part, which is, it's above average is what it is, because you can't train any SCVs to get the achievements, and you want to kill as many things with spider mines as you can, but you gotta also remember that vultures are glass cannons, which means they do a lot of damage, but they're very fragile. And then other than this kind of waiting game, you don't really have to worry about anything. Once you place the spider mines, have your vultures come back in, because you don't want to leave them out there. I wouldn't even bother setting up a secondary base over there, because it's just not worth it because it's too exposed. But I would fill out your SCVs unlike what I did back here. But yeah, just fill that entire area with spider mines, and the troops that come through will just run over them and die. Yeah, fill it with spider mines until you get the achievement, and then basically you can go ahead and, once you feel you have a good enough force, which I usually think the force is good enough around about 150, and that's good enough to push through into the main base, because he does, even with all that force that you knocked out in the beginning, he still has a really big force in there.
The doctor
So basically, build up your troops until you have probably about 150 supplies worth of army units. Well, units, I should say. Which it doesn't take too long. And then, before you move out, make sure you move out right after an attack. Wait for the attack and then move out. Because the last thing you want to do is move out, get hit by an attack, and then try to go into the base limping. You know what I mean? Also, I do believe after a short period of time, they start sending ravens with their patrols to start taking out the spider mines, so just be aware of that. Yeah, see, the reason they're able to see them is because they have a raven up there and it's a detector. Now, your spider mines will still be able to take out a good number of them, so don't be discouraged by that. Also, the one thing I hate about ravens is they're a butt to kill because they can get away from things pretty easily. Also, do not let your vultures get too far ahead of your main force because they will die. But hey, they're gung-ho units, so... Yeah, see, he still has a decent-sized force in his base. Once you take out the main units, go ahead and start pushing your way up the ramp over here. You don't want to waste time trying to just, push through and take everything out. Just take out the army units, don't worry about the buildings, and then once you have that done, push up the ramp. Because he does have a battle cruiser, as you can see, as well as siege tanks splattered around, so you want to get rid of those as fast as possible before you lose your forces. And then basically all you got to do now is take out that command center and you'll be done. Well, there you have it, guys. This has been Cutthroat and how to get the achievements in the mission. If y'all like what you saw, give me a like and a share and a comment down below. And if you didn't, just leave me a comment. I like to hear critiques and stuff. Anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next one.